Yay! We are live on my YouTube channel and we are live on Zoom for our second book reading of our adventure. I'm so excited for all of you that have joined this adventure, even though you're not all live here. What would it take? What else is possible? And I am honored to be your host for this book reading today. We are reading Divorceless Relationships. What if you didn't have to divorce you to be in a relationship? And this book is by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here, the co-founders of Access Consciousness. Okay, so that was like, where do we start? I mean, we don't have to be like so boring and start from the first chapter always. So what popped up is to start from chapter 11. We'll be reading 1/3 of the book. And you'll be able, like on YouTube, you'll be able to watch this reading for other 48 hours. After that, I will be taking that down. So let's start. Okay, and before we start, what if we just let go of all of our projections, expectations, separations, judgments, and rejections that we have about this book reading, that we have about what it can create and actualize, what it will never be able to create and actualize, because, you know, it's just a free book reading. Everything that is, will we now let it all go? Right or wrong, good and bad, pot, all 9 shorts, ways, pods, and beyonds. In this book, there's also the, they talk also about the clearing statement. So if you don't know the clearing statement, you can go to theclearingstatement.com. Okay, let's start from chapter 11. And I wonder, what are the infinite possibilities for all of us and for the planet with divorceless relationships? Okay, the title of this chapter is Choosing to Change. Okay. We have a free will universe here, which means you can choose anything. You can choose that which is contributory and expansive to your life, and you can choose that which is contractive and eliminates things from your life. How does that work? When I married my ex-wife, she said she didn't like my friends, so we were only allowed to associate with her friends. By making the choice to marry her, I eliminated all my old friends. Smart? No. When I made the choice to marry her, I didn't realize she would demand that we have nothing to do with my friends. Her point of view was none of them were worth knowing. I could no longer talk to friends I had for years unless I made a point of going outside the marriage and having a relationship with them that had nothing to do with her. That was the only way I could have a relationship with any of them. I finally got to the point where I realized I didn't exist in the relationship with my wife. I would call her and say, "Hey, can we have so-and-so over for dinner?" She would respond with, "No, I don't like him." Then she would call me back 10 minutes later and say, "I invited my friend so-and-so to come spend the weekend. You don't mind, do you?" I began to realize my point of view didn't count. What I would like was irrelevant. Over time, I had divorced more and more of me in order to make the relationship work for her. There was no allowance of my choices in her universe. Anytime you make a choice, you add things and you also eliminate things from your life. Look at the choices you make and ask, what does this choice eliminate from my life? What does it add to my life? Be aware of what you are choosing. People don't tend to make choices about relationships from consciousness. They tend to choose from other people's points of view. That is like wearing clothes that don't suit your body. Do they make your body look good, or do they make your body look ridiculous? They make it look ridiculous, yet you assume they make it look good because everybody is wearing clothes like that. You look at everybody else and say, they seem able to function here, and I don't feel I function here. I don't feel like I belong here. I don't know where I fit. I don't know how to do these things. Maybe these other people understand something I don't. You try to figure out how to do things the way they do them, so you can get something right in life, only you don't have the success they have. Why? Because you are making choices based on someone else's point of view. Okay, so we have a tool. Well, this book and all of the Access Consciousness books are just full of tools that you can play with, and just like really from the play of it and just see what happens, like what shows up, what changes, how much fun can you have using the tools? I wonder. Okay, tool. How did I create this? Every choice you make creates your reality. Every choice you make creates the life you are currently living, and it creates your future. If you're not happy with what you are creating, ask, how did I create this? Where was that 10 seconds of unconsciousness I chose that brought this into existence? When you get that awareness, you have two choices. You can do judgment of it and destroy all possibility of creating something different, or you can ask a question like, what would I like to change about this? And be different. Your choice creates the difference. Let me just like ping everyone in the group, maybe. Okay, pin, notify all members. Yes. Okay. Let's go on. Okay, so I read that. Okay, then choosing the cesspool. Do you know what a cesspool is? A cesspool is where all the turds and piss go after they are flushed down the toilet. It's a pool of floating turds and piss. Disgusting. This is where the majority of people live, in the 10% cesspool. How amazing. I think there, no. Next door is the 990% clear pool. For some reason, nobody is in the clear pool. So, would you like to continue to swim in the cesspool, or would you be willing to get out and try the 990% pool? The 99% pool has lots of space and lots of clean, clear water. There is no chlorine in it because you don't have to put chlorine in a pool when nobody's pissing in it. The weird part of this scenario is that it is so simple. Climb out of the cesspool, take 2 steps, and get into the clear pool. But we act like, I can't. I just can't. I can't ever get out of the cesspool. Why not? Well, all of your friends are in the cesspool. Why would you want to leave the other turds behind? We are trying to make this very graphic in the hope that you will get the image and it will stick with you in some way, so you can say, oh, family, cesspool, okay, excuse me, I am going over here. I am going to swim in this clear pool. You guys enjoy yourselves. Bye, see you later. The cesspool is the comfort zone. If you are swimming with turds, you know you are alive and all is as it should be. If you want to choose that, it's okay. Does it make you happy when you do it? No, so don't choose it. Unfortunately, moving into the clear pool will require one thing of you, the willingness, I highlight that, to take advantage of the people in the cesspool. Taking advantage of those that are swimming in the cesspool is moving into the clear pool. You have to be willing to take advantage, because otherwise you have to swim with the turds. Have you had enough of swimming with the turds? Do you have the point of view that by choosing the clear pool, you are not being kind or you are not doing the right thing? Whose point of view is that? If you're functioning from the 990%, you will always be beyond where everybody else functions from. So you will be taken advantage no matter what you do. Everything you do will be taken advantage because you will not have a tough life. Wow. Again, everything you do will be taken advantage because you will not have a tough life. How many of us are avoiding not having a tough life? Pot and pock, all of that. Where is it? Okay, you will not be choosing the cesspool. You will be choosing the clear pool automatically if you start functioning from the 990%. Do you realize how much work you are doing to not be that 990%? Rescuing others from the cesspool. Are you trying to rescue everybody from the cesspool? Do you believe they are drowning and need you to help them? What usually happens when you try to rescue a drowning person? They pull you back in and you both drown. So you would want to do that for what reason? People in the cesspool like being in the cesspool. They love it. Every time you try to rescue them, they get together and they hold on to each other so they have enough weight to pull you into. That is what you are going to get when you try to save people. First of all, did you ask them a question like, do you want to be saved? Did they ask you a question like, will you save me? No. So if you try to save them when they haven't asked you a question, they will drown you in the cesspool of love. People choose what they choose, and you have to understand that people choose what they have. You even have to let people die if that's what they are choosing. That's the way to stay in the clear pool. I have two sons that have gone through major drug problems, and both of them have been in positions where death was just a hair's breadth away. One of them has done such damage to his body that if he lives another 5 years, it will be a miracle. He has done massive amounts of drugs of one sort or another to the point that he actually had his heart stop. It only started again when he hit the floor. That was self-CPR, a pound to the heart, boom. I did my best to show my son there was a different possibility, but didn't want to choose it. I am clear that my son has chosen to live his life the way it is. It is his life, not mine. I can't make him do anything. There is sadness for me that this would be my son's choice, but I find it sad that many people choose the things they choose. I see so many kinds of people choosing things that will destroy their life, destroy their money, destroy their relationships. And it is always sad to me to see somebody do that. But it will not stop me from choosing the 990% space. It may seem like people in the cesspool don't know how to get out, but it's not that they don't know how to get out. They don't know there is another choice. They can't see that clear pool over there because nobody has told them it exists, and because everybody's saying, don't look. Finding the 990% of you. Are you willing to go on the adventure of life, or would you rather go on the predictable vacation called Cesspool 101? Have you been enjoying the cesspool you are currently swimming in? No? Why not try the clear pool even though you have no idea what it is going to be like? There might be champagne in the other pool. There might be good things in the other pool. You don't know what it is going to be. Would you rather stay where you know what's going on? You may be someone who has to have a map before you will even start on the journey. You may have never ever gone on a journey without knowing in advance where you are heading. What if it was way more fun to go on a journey that has never existed before? Think of it like going into space. You are going to a space where you might find things you never knew existed. Mostly what you're going to find is the other 9,000 pieces of you that you have never seen. You have been taking one piece out of the 10,000 pieces of you, and you have been living as that. And that has been the 10% of your life. You have another 990% available, which is another 9,999 pieces of you that you could find if you were willing to go on the journey. You can say, but I don't have a spacesuit and I haven't been trained to go into space. Where's the rocket and who is going to lift it off? Where are all the people who will support me when I get up in the air? Who will get me back down again when I get there? The truth is that you don't need a spacesuit and you don't need a rocket ship. You just need more of you. What if you could move beyond where anybody else was capable of living? Would that be of interest to you? Would that be more fun than what you are currently doing? Would that be more fun than anybody else is having? You would never know what was going to come next, which means you would never be bored again. Would that be exciting? Or have you bought the lie that it would be fearful for you to not know what the next moment brings? What about the joy of living? What is more fun? Having sex with the same person over and over again in the same way, or trying new ways and new people? I'm afraid. We're sorry to tell you this, but fear is a total lie. You do not have an ounce of fear. Here is the proof. When there is an emergency situation, do you fall apart and run away? Or do you get calm, cool, collected, and handle what has to be handled? You get calm, cool, and collected and handle what has to be handled, don't you? That is because you have no fear. If you truly had fear, you would fall apart or run away in an emergency. You make yourself 10%, and when there is an emergency situation, you step up to 12%. When you do this, everything begins to move slowly, and you handle everything so it all gets straightened out. This is why grannies can pick up trucks and pull out little children with one hand. This is the power and the potency that is available to us all, but we only step into it in an emergency. You take care of everything until it is okay for you to let go of holding on to everything. The emotion that you sometimes experience as shock after a trauma is not usually yours. It is what you have taken out of others so they can be calm, cool, collected, and handle things too. If you go through a trauma situation and you don't acknowledge the potency you are being, you will often create the lie in your universe that you are a fearful and afraid person. Would you like to acknowledge now all the potency you've displayed 1,000 times over when you thought you must have been afraid? Because everybody said you had to be afraid, even though you were not fearful? Would you also acknowledge that you stepped into the potency of the 12% to 15% in that situation, then misidentified and misapplied that you were afraid because you didn't acknowledge that potency? Everything that is times a gazillion, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? Yes? Thank you. right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. What would it be like if you were the power that would give you everything you have ever looked for in you and never found? Wow. Again, what would it be like if you were the power that would give you everything you have ever looked for in you and never found? Wow. The only place you are going to find you is in the clear pool. All you can find in the cesspool are the other turds floating around. Have you been looking for you in the cesspool as though that were the place to find you? Did you not want to leave because you thought if you looked hard enough, you would finally find you there? Would you give up that insanity, please? You do not exist in the cesspool. You keep looking for somebody who can give you an answer about what you need to be or do, and that's not really available. Do not ask about what you need to be and do. Ask what you need to choose. Ask the question and just sit with it. What do I need to choose that would allow me to be everything I would like to be? What do I need to choose that would allow me to be everything I desire to be? The biggest mistake we see people making is they look at each other, at each of the parts of relationship, as though studying the parts would give them clarity. Parts can't give us clarity. Only the whole can give us clarity. So instead of trying to figure out which parts are missing, or what pieces are missing, or what you should add, or could add, or should do differently, or should have more clarity on, just allow the whole thing to be there and ask, what choice can I make? If you will embrace the idea of moving beyond where anybody else is capable of living, you become an invitation for other people to step up to more of what they can be too. When you embrace this idea, there will also be some people who will go away from your life. They will leave and not want to have anything to do with you ever again. I lost many of my quote unquote best friends when I started walking into this space. They just went away and didn't want to talk to me anymore because they didn't want me to change. They knew that if I had changed, they knew that if I changed, they would have no excuse for holding on to their own judgments about what was right and wrong in their universe. And that was too uncomfortable for them. Cool. Choose in 10-second increments. Before reading this book, you didn't realize that there was the 990% that you could choose. It doesn't matter if you have chosen the 10% in this particular area of your life right now. Right now is a new 10 seconds. Exercise. Ooh, let's do it. Exercise. You've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? Okay, that lifetime is over. You've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beep. Okay, this lifetime is over. Again, you've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beep. Okay, this lifetime is over. You've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? Beep. Okay, this lifetime is over. And last one. You've got 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? Beep. Okay, this lifetime is over. Imagine what it would be like if your life were like that. Imagine that you can choose every 10 seconds. Even if you have chosen the 10% because you thought that was the way life was, or because you were trying to love your mom, hate your mom, love your dad, hate your dad, make them right or make them wrong, or for any other reason, it doesn't matter. What if you realized, wow, this is a new 10 seconds. I can make a totally different choice right now. And then what if you asked, am I choosing the 10% or the 990%? If you give up resisting and reacting to what you are choosing today and realize it is just a choice that you have available, you can choose something else with freedom. Okay, I am choosing something else. What would I like to choose today? You always have choice. How much of your life are you creating based on, I have no choice? Are you trying to find the Lord of the Rings choice? The one choice that will rule them all? This is a problem. People try to create one choice that will rule all other choices, so they will never have to make a different choice again. The reality is, you need to be able to make your choice in 10-second increments. Choices that last forever are what create no choice in your life. How many quote unquote forever choices have you made that are destroying your current life? Everything that is times a gazillion. Will you now destroy and uncreate it all, please? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, fun and POC, all nine shorts, boys, poverty, and beyonds. Most people ask, what would I not like to choose today? They live from resistance by asking, what would I not like to show up today? They think, oh no, I know this is going to show up today. They don't want it to show up and therefore it shows up. What if there was nothing you needed to change? What if there was just the choice to change every 10 seconds? Most people try to get to consistency as though consistency will make their life predictable. Why would you want a life that was predictable, safe, and boring? What would be the value of having a consistent life? Do you want to know everything is consistent so you can control it? If you are not willing to see a different possibility, then you are trying to make your life consistent and boring. Do you think that is the way for you to fit in this reality? You are a humanoid and you can't fit in this reality. You can choose the 990% instead and generate something you have never been willing to generate, your own reality. Needing reference points. To a certain extent, you will go back to what's familiar, even if it's crappy, because that way you know where you are. You make a choice to go back to what you know because that is your reference point for your reality. Your reference points are the energies you consider your life to be. And if any of those energies go missing, you panic and go looking for them. Let's say you've spent your whole life worrying about money, worrying about money, worrying about money. You consider that to be your life. Then something changes and your worry about money is gone. You wake up in the morning and you say, oh my God, something is missing. What's missing? The worry is missing. I used to suffer from back pain, and for about a year and a half, I was flat on my back. I thought, oh, I can't stand this. I'm going to kill myself unless something shows up that gives me a different option. I couldn't lift a bag of groceries. I couldn't get out of the house. I just lay there and watched television. This was not a life. As a result of my demand for change, I met someone who did rolfing, which is a kind of deep tissue massage. After 5 sessions of rolfing, I was out of pain. I woke up one morning and I said, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. What is it? The pain was missing. I was out of pain for the first time in 2.5 years. In a circumstance like that, 90% of the time, you recreate the problem because that's what you have decided your life is. You will go looking for the problem and you will do whatever it is you know how to do to take you back to the place again rather than asking, who am I today? What else can I generate? What else might be possible now? How about starting where you are rather than going back to find the energy you called your life to see if you can step back into it? If you actually go looking for what your point of view was before you changed it, or for what you had before you changed your point of view, you will recreate the whole thing. This is one of our greatest talents and abilities. Dane and I call it recreating crap. What if we didn't do that? You have a moment of choice when you become aware of what is creating your life the way it is. You can either go back into the cesspool or you can say, no, I am swimming in the clear pool now. Some people want to change, but they feel that they have to have the reference points to know what they are changing, or even if they are changing. They have the opportunity to change and have an entirely different life. But when they come right up to the edge of it, they turn around and go into the opposite direction. You look for your past reference points to show you that you have a reality. But what if you had no reality? Have you misidentified and misapplied that if you don't buy into everybody else's reality, you will be lost? Do you find that other people's reality is fun? Or would you rather die than live that way? What if you can change and have a reality that is different from what other people have? A lot of people live lives of what we call quiet desperation. Maybe it is just incredible boredom. Do you love hating your life? Do you love hating your life? I love my life so much, I won't give it up. This is like having a love-hate relationship with a lover. I love my life, but I hate it. I love my lover, but I hate them so much. I want to get rid of them and get a new one, but I can't because if I lose this one, I don't know if I will ever have another. What? That's just nuts. Are you bored? If you're being bored, you don't want to have fun. If you were having fun, you would stop being bored. The truth is that you love being bored. It gives you all kinds of power over other people. It is also one of the ways you create the love you have for hating your life. How do you change that? Look for something that nurtures your body and your soul, and do that for at least an hour a day and one whole day each week. As soon as you have an awareness that one small moment is fun, be grateful for the fun that it is. Enjoy the hell out of it and then ask, okay, now, where is the next 10-second increment of joy and fun? Then start applying that to every aspect of your life. You have to laugh at how incredibly, ridiculously we are at creating our lives. Here we are saying, I hate this, and yet we keep doing it over and over again. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is called insanity. But we won't admit that we are insane because we are trying to prove that we are sane by choosing the same thing over and over again. Are you getting what you deserve? The word deserve means to devote oneself to being of service. Are you of service? Many people think it means to be worthy and that you serve and that you deserve in return for service. None of that is true. I got what I deserve is an interesting point of view. No, you didn't. You don't deserve anything. Do you deserve to breathe? Just because you are breathing doesn't mean you deserve to breathe. There are a lot of people in the world who are a waste of breath. You are an infinite being with infinite possibilities, You breathe from choosing, not from deserving. What if your life wasn't about what you deserved, but what you were willing to choose and willing to receive? If you make your life about what you deserve, it puts you in a constant state of judgment of you and everything in your life. There is no deserving. There's no reason and justification that means you deserve anything. You don't even deserve to breathe. It is simply a choice you have. Why did I choose this? Why? It's not a good question. Asking why will lead you in circles, and eventually you will end up back where you started. The reasons and decisions for choosing something are irrelevant if you're willing to choose something different now. Choice is similar to process. You make a choice, or you can process and analyze yourself until the cows come home. Then used to try to process everything to make a change. His basic point of view was, I can change this until I've processed it. One day I asked him, can you change your socks without processing? Dane said, no, I don't process. I just change my socks. I said, okay, you can just change your life too. Instead of asking why, ask, how does it get any better than this? Another tool. How does it get any better than this? When you choose to say the words, how does it get any better than this? You are literally asking for the vibration of how something gets greater. This requires you to let go and allow the universe to show you how it gets better. You can't control it. All you can do is ask the universe for the favor of assistance and receive that assistance from whatever it may show up. The more you ask the question, how does it get any better than this? The more doors open. Things expand and everything becomes light and easy. That's being in the 990% of possibility. As soon as you say, well, it can't get any better than this, you go back to the 10%. This occurs when you are going along and using the question, how does it get any better than this? Everything's easy, and then you say, wow, this has been going on for too long. It's too good. Something's got to happen. Right there, you make a decision. You decide something's got to happen, so something happens. You have jumped yourself out of the clear pool and into the cesspool. It's okay. You can choose again and say, okay, I'm back in the cesspool. Never mind. I am going back to the clear pool. Chapter 12, Choice Creates Awareness. Ultimately, the target here is to get to the point where choice is not about whether something is rewarding or not rewarding. It's not about whether it is good or bad. It's just a choice. When you make a choice, you are instantly more aware. Choice creates awareness. Awareness does not create choice. When you start to create from choice, all of a sudden, a new universe begins to open up for you. You choose, and then you get to see what the choice creates. The problem is we act like we are the effect of every choice we make. This occurs because we were taught that we have to be aware of the consequences of our actions, which we can't control because we are not God. We were never taught to ask, okay, what is this choice going to generate or create in my life? Have you ever made a choice that made absolutely no sense, yet something extraordinary opened up from it? Choice is greater than anything else. Everything is a choice. After I got divorced, I made a choice to have an affair with a woman who then told everybody that because I had chosen to have an affair with her, she was obviously the most conscious person in Access Consciousness. She told everyone who was doing classes with me at that time that she was now the queen of Access. As a result, 77 people left Access, which had a severe impact on my business. I did not go into the wrongness of me. I said, okay, that was not my best choice. I had made myself unaware, so I could go ahead and do what I had decided I wanted to do, which was to have the affair. It had nothing to do with being in the question. I had the point of view that I was so conscious that I could get away with it, even though I knew it was not a good idea. I didn't ask a question like, is this rewarding? Because I didn't really want to know the answer. I didn't really want to see what was going to happen. I just made the choice to have the affair. As a result of that, I became aware of the amount of judgment that was functioning in the world. And because distraction showed up for me after making that choice, I discovered there was a point of distraction, pod, as well as a point of creation, POC, connected to a point of view. It explained the decisions that become distracting in our life and how we create destructive patterns. We now use POC and POD in the clearing statement because they eliminate the things we have created with our points of view. Prior to this experience, I hadn't put a lot of attention on judgment, but because of it, I realized that judgment is what people use to separate or to connect. And by seeing that there was a point of distraction, I became aware of how judgment is so destructive to our life. So the whole experience was a gift, and I don't regret my choice to have an affair. 77 people leaving Access was about 10% fewer participants in classes, which affected me financially. However, ultimately, 20% more class participants showed up over the next year. Every choice creates awareness. Your choice may not end up being something that turns out quote unquote well, but the awareness that can come from it can be huge. Controlling others with your choices. Unfortunately, you are not God, and you cannot control what other people will choose based on what you choose with regard to them. You have to acknowledge that and ask, will this choice be rewarding? And will this choice be a contribution? Even if you don't get a cognitive answer, asking these questions will open the door to awareness that you would not have been willing to have before. Once I had the affair with this woman, I couldn't undo the damage she was going to do to other people's lives as a result of it. You cannot control what someone will do after you interact with them. They are going to take what you have said or done and run with their own insane worldview. They are not going to have the same point of view you do. This is what you have to be aware of when you choose something with someone. Just because you see something that could be possible does not mean the other people will. You have to look at what they see as possible and not possible as well. There is no good reason for anything. You cannot determine how the points of view that people function from were created because people make all kinds of weird decisions. You will not get anywhere looking for where or why. Just know that people make decisions and that is their choice. I had a friend who was a songwriter. He had once been very successful, but he had not had success for a long time. He wanted to work on his success and he was asking what it would take to get it back. His wife had a lot of talent and ability too, and I worked with both of them. Nothing happened until one day when Dane was working with them. He asked the husband, would you be willing to be hugely successful again? The husband said, yes, absolutely. Dane asked, even if it meant losing your wife? Yes, absolutely, he replied. His wife looked at him and said, I just realized I've been holding you back all these years. I didn't want you to be any more successful because I thought you would leave me. Dane asked her if she would be willing for her husband to be a success. She said yes. A year later, she was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and she spent 5 years dying of brain tumors. Dane and I tried everything we could to get her to change her point of view about getting a brain tumor. She wouldn't do it. She died. Once before the wife died, I went to Nashville to visit my friend. When I walked into the house, I saw that the wife had redecorated the entire place so it would be a man's house, not a woman's. She had done all this knowing full well that she was going to die. I asked her questions about choosing death instead of something else, and finally she said, I knew I had to get out of the way in order for him to be a success again. She could have chosen to change, but she chose death over changing. Death was a perfect, preferable choice over change. There are a lot of people who have that point of view. Rather than change something, they would prefer to die. It is bizarre that people would choose something like that, but they do. It is just a choice they make. There is no why they choose it. They just choose it. You can't save people. You can stop people from doing what they have decided to do. I once made the error of telling a friend that her relationship was a mistake. She had been through several failed relationships, and she asked me to tell her when she was making a mistake with the man she picked. She found someone and came to me saying, oh, he's so perfect. He's so wonderful. He's the perfect man for me. That wasn't what I saw. And because she had asked me to tell her when she was making a mistake, I said, he's a lunatic and he's going to beat you. She was furious with me. How can you say that? I can't believe you would say that to me. She stopped talking to me. 3 years later, he was beating her. 2 years after that, she had a baby and he started beating the baby. Then he went to church and became a good God-fearing Christian. So he prayed over them before he hit them. Out in public, they would pray at every meal for God to bless them in what they were doing, but he was still a lunatic. She stayed with him. She has been with him for 25 years and he's still a lunatic. She has divorced every part of her in order to make that relationship work. It wasn't her brightest choice, but I wasn't bright either because I actually told her what she said she wanted me to tell her. I learned then that it is not wise to believe what people tell you. Be aware and tell people what they really want to hear. Never tell them what is true. 2, tell people what they can hear. This is one of the greatest tools available to you in relationships. It will save you grief to a degree you can't begin to imagine. Have you ever tried to tell someone something that you thought they should know that they weren't actually willing to hear? Who is the one who gets the grief as a result of it? It's always you. The other person will always make you wrong. They will always get pissed off at you, and then you have to spend 5 hours explaining to them how it was not actually what you just said. Be aware of what other people can receive. That's true kindness. Even if you're in a relationship with someone, keep what you know to yourself unless they ask you a question. They will not be willing to hear anything unless they want to know, and they ask for that knowing. All you can do is contribute to the person. You cannot help them or make them more conscious. If you want to help a friend by telling them how you see something or what you know about their situation, stop and ask yourself, have they asked a question about this? And are they interested in this? My friend Mary was 95 years old when she suggested to me that I could have a better relationship with my wife if I stopped trying to tell her what she couldn't hear. Mary said it was a big mistake to assume you must share everything with your mate. Big mistake. It doesn't contribute to the relationship at all. So I stopped telling my wife what she didn't want to know about or what she didn't want to hear, and our relationship improved. Mary said that she and her husband, Bill, would discuss things, and then Bill would say, okay, Mary, the complaint department is now closed. That meant we will not talk about this subject anymore. This is not a subject we will ever agree on. Therefore, you cannot complain about the fact that I don't agree with you. This will not be a topic of discussion ever again. Mary explained, we agreed that we were never going to agree, so we just said, Let's not discuss it anymore. It is so much easier when you know what you don't need to talk about. She was into metaphysics and went to psychic healers all over the world. He believed you lived, loved, worked, and died, and that was it. She said, Bill said that if that's what I needed to do, then I should do it. And so I did. But she never tried to talk to him about these things. This is a more sane way of having a relationship. Mary and Bill truly cared for each other and they contributed to each other. They were one of the few couples I know that had a great and phenomenal relationship. Their relationship wasn't based on sharing, it was based on the fact that each one of them supported the other in whatever their point of view was. Oh, wow, that's so beautiful. I love it. And yeah, these tools have really contributed to me creating that. I've never thought, like I was one that thought that, the kind of relationship is the one that you see in the movies, the one that you share everything with. And it's like, I never even imagined possible a relationship creationship like the one that I have. And I always ask, how does it get even better than this? So like, use the tools, have fun. Now, let me share this with you. The way sharing works is this. You know that A, B, C is possible, and you try to share this with someone who only knows X, Y, Z is possible. Unless the other person makes a choice for something different, or at least has a question in their universe about what else might be possible, they will never see A, B, C, nor will they step into it. If you're making an effort to create a relationship and you're trying to share what you know is possible, you will cut off everything you know about A, B, C, and try to start the relationship at X, Y, Z, because you believe that then you will be able to get them to go to A, B, C. One day, Dane was jogging along the beach. He was full of energy, running with ease and enjoying his body because, for him, it is fun to run. A little way along the beach, another guy came jogging the other way, and he was soon within 100 meters of Dane. At that moment, Dane felt like his body had no energy. He couldn't breathe, his lungs were filling up with fluid, and his coordination was all over the place. He kept running and asked, "What the hell is going on?" This happened with 6 other people as he was going along on the beach. They all had different body types, and he was experiencing different things. Dane was really confused. He kept asking, "What is going on here?" And then he suddenly realized that his point of view was that he wanted to share with people what he knew to be possible with embodiment and how the body could be a source of joy. Every time he tried to share this awareness with them in their bodies energetically or any other way, he had to go down to their level. This is the way sharing works energetically. If you're functioning from the desire to share a point of view, you must be willing to look at what the other person can receive, because unfortunately, sharing is not what you think it is. What actually seems to be the case is that you have to diminish you because the other person has no desire to receive what you wish to share with them. We always assume when we find something great that the other people would desire to share that and to have that greatness too. This is a mistake we all make. This reality is you have to look at the situation and ask, can the other person receive this? Do they desire to receive this? Sharing with the one you love. When Dane started using Access Consciousness tools, he went from wanting to kill himself to becoming happy and joyful. There was so much peace in his world, he wanted to share it with his mom. He said, "My mom was one of the saddest people I knew, so I kept asking her, would you like to come to do this Access stuff? It is so cool. Will you check out some of this information? Do you want to do this class? Do you want to look at the website?" She couldn't even hear it. She either never responded or she would say something like, "I have this other thing to do." Dane's response was, "What are you talking about?" One day I said to Dane, "Do you realize that your mother loves being sad and unhappy and she doesn't want to change?" Dane finally realized that it actually made his mother happy to be that sad. He had desired to give her something she didn't want, which was the same as judging her to be inferior to him. He saw that in trying to get his mom to change, he was actually being unkind to her. He chose to poke and prod his point of view, and he energetically said to his mom, "Mom, you know what? I am really sorry. I apologize. I have been a superior asshole trying to give you what I think you should want. I am totally over that and I won't ever do it again. You can be sad, happy, or whatever you want. I love you totally and completely just as you are." 2 weeks later, his mom called and asked, "Why don't you ever invite me to any access classes?" He had been inviting her for 2.5 years, but she couldn't hear it because Dane was vested in the outcome of wanting her to get something instead of being willing for her to be and do whatever worked for her. Being vested in the outcome. If you're vested in the other person changing or in the other person getting something or in the other person sharing with you, they can't ever get it. You have to be in allowance. Oh my gosh. Whoa. You have to be in allowance of what they have chosen and know it is right for them. It is their choice. It is their life. And they have to live it the way they choose. When you get vested in wanting them to do something different, nothing will change. When you get vested in someone changing, you suck yourself into their 10% and function from there. You buy into their viewpoints rather than being the space of the 990% that you can be. When you're willing to just be the way you know is possible, when you are not trying to change someone, you become the invitation and the inspiration for them to choose differently. Are you refusing to be the inspiration you can be? How much of you are you diminishing so you won't inspire others to be greater? And everything that is times a gazillion, will you now destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod poc, all 9 shorts, boys, pavads, and beyonds. Just for me, how often have you been able to share good news with your friends and have them be grateful for your success? 90% of them will think, well, how come you got that and I didn't? Or, well, of course you would get that, you asshole. Don't tell people about the things you do that are highly successful. This results in using others as a reference point, and if you use others as a reference point for your success, you inevitably pull yourself out of the 990% and perpetuate the 10% reality. You will keep going back to the 10% because that's the reference point for where you belong. It's operating in contextual reality. Where do I belong? Where do I fit? You can't hold on to your past reference points, even when you're dealing with people you care about. You have to be willing to let people choose to go if they choose to go. You may say something like, I can't let him go. He's been in my life for 40 years. If you're tempted to think like this, ask yourself if the person is truly a good friend. Just because you have known someone for 40 years doesn't make them a good friend. Are they envious or jealous? That's not a good friend. Do they judge you? That's not a good friend. These are people you don't attempt to share things with. You don't have to get rid of anybody anyway. Just start using their judgment as a way of getting them to give you what you want. This is the way you have to live your life. Just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone. And enjoy the hell out of your life. Okay, so we've just read 2 chapters, and like 1/3 of the book would be like 10 chapters, but we've gone for 1 hour already. So I wonder if we keep reading this book another time, and in the meantime you can re-listen on the YouTube for 48 hours and maybe like take some notes, journal or something or whatever, play with the tools. And we continue another time. What about that? Okay.
Awesome.
Oops, can you talk?
Yeah, I said awesome.
Okay, Natasha, that's so great. Okay.
Brenda, just a quick 2, 3 words. I had no words during this session.
Okay.
My whole body was kind of feeling some kind of melting energy, very warm, like through my whole body. So nice. And what caught up for me was that sharing. You know, a couple of days ago, I was so grateful for acknowledging myself, and I wanted to share with my family. I called my mom and I said, let's make a group and we'll share each day the acknowledgement and the gratitude we have for whatever.
Okay.
And it didn't work.
Wow.
It didn't work because suddenly my joy and my gratitude stopped. And now I make the connection. I mean, I knew that sometimes we go down and diminish ourselves, but I didn't relate it to sharing. This like opened a new horizon for me. And the other stuff is the simplest tool, like the 10 second increment. You said it 3 or 4 times. First time was easy. I'll choose this. The second time was a little bit easier. I'll choose this. The third time I was like, what the hell I'm going to choose here? You know? And the fourth time, like, oops, I'm blank.
Yes.
You
And
know,
you
that's
yeah, sorry.
No, go on. I'm just speechless today. So I'll
Yeah,
let you.
like, yeah, but you know, this is so like key. Like, this is one of the keys for like why. I mean, people just choose because they choose, okay, but like people prefer, like they choose what they choose. Because if they chose something different, they would have to be willing to step outside of their comfort zone,
Yes.
create their lives, while in the comfort zone, okay, well, they're victims or life happens, and like, you know, they don't have to really put that much energy into, like, they put energy into creating shit and comfort zone, but it's like that
It's easier.
said, you know, it's in a way, but is it really easier? I mean, we believe it's easier, but is it really easier to create the shit of the cesspool and the comfort zone? I mean, where have we believed that lie? Where have we bought that lie? And we keep recreating that and keep that stuck into our body.
Yeah.
Everything that is, can we please now destroy and upgrade it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot pock, all nine shores, boys, powers, and beyonds. Wow, it's really like, if you desire something different, you have to be willing to step up and to really create your life. And that's fascinating. I mean, as you said, with the 10-second increments that you went blank. Wow. What else is possible and available for you?
Yeah, Brenda, but you know what's interesting is that you know these tools, you use them, but sometimes you just drop them and then you hear something and it like hits you, and then wow, it's so simple. And at the same time, I'm amazed of how much we learn from the family and the background we come. And it takes first of all courage to as looking in the mirror, you know, to sit at the table, to put on paper everything, and then you sense the space, and then you see the possibilities, or sense them probably. I would invite as much people as they came to join us and to go through this journey. Each time it opens something different for me personally, and I'm very grateful for you, for what you're doing, for the universe, for Gary, for these tools, and for me myself. You know, probably I've been knowing this from the whole time, just now waking up with each tool each day.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much. It was
Oh,
different today for me. This movement of energy.
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's change. Probably my body is just releasing. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's really interesting. My body has been like really intense today.
Thank you so much.
And yeah,
How
oh,
brilliant.
my pleasure. And thank you so much for receiving, for like being here live and keeping me company and receiving live and and like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so grateful for you
Brenda,
being here.
I had to have a call, which was exactly this hour. And
Okay.
2 days before I was thinking like, but I really want to go with the reading. What else is
Oh,
possible here? And the call was canceled today, like 4 hours before. And I was like, yes.
wow. That's so wow. So
And
so
if
beautiful.
we truly desire something, how easy can we get that? That's also fascinating just to acknowledge
Yes.
that. That's awesome.
Acknowledge the power of your choice.
Yeah.
Mm. Wow. I can't remember, where do you live now?
I didn't choose a country yet. I'm planning to move because I
Okay.
lived in one country. Now I'm in another country,
Okay.
and currently I'll be taking off in another country. So I'm asking the universe, show me the best option for me. um,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I would love to travel more. I'm planning some things to go some countries and
Hey,
what
yay.
what are the infinite possibilities to meet in person?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yes. Friday for today, I'm like, wow, my body is asking me to relax and
Yes.
sleep. It's so interesting. My body is asking me to sleep. Like the whole day it's been like, I want to sleep. Okay. Okay,
You
thank
go
you.
enjoy, and thank you for the reading. Thank you for your contribution, this energy you're putting in.
My pleasure.
And I'm so soft now and so warm. So I leave you here with gratitude
Oh, thank
and looking forward for the next time how it
you. Me
will be.
too. Me too. I mean, let's keep going with this baby.
Yep.
It's definitely a great one and one of my favorite topics.
Yes.
Okay, Natasha, thank you so much for being here with me
Thank you, Brenda.
and see you next time. Mwah.
See
Have
you.
a
Bye
lovely
bye.
weekend. Bye bye.
The same to you.